You're about to enter the arena and join the battle to save America with your host, Sean Parnell.
Good evening, Battle Crew and America. It is Friday. After a crazy, hectic week, it is awesome to be here with you all to close it out. And the live chat is just hopping and popping. Apache Beast, Esky, Sly, Sue, Gino, RW, H. Berman, 2RM, Sculpt. I mean, it just goes on and on. And Cindy's in the chat. Commander Melanie, Pat, BR, Demanda, thank you all so much for being here on this Friday. Got a huge show for you planned today. And I just have to say, I'll tell you what, I was only gone one day this week. And this is in my mind because I was talking to folks in the live chat before the show, which we do from 4 to 5. You know, this is the community that we're building here. You're a part of it. This is your show just as much as it is mine. And I missed one day in the middle of the week, and I feel like it threw off my whole week. You know, you're not doing a show that night, but you're still in the routine of doing show planning, because if you take seriously the job of, you know, getting on here and not just reporting the news, there are a million people out there that you can listen to or that you can watch that just read report. I'm not one of those people. I never will be. Well, I mean, sometimes you got to make fun of Biden pooping his pants at, you know, like honoring D-Day veterans or wherever he is, talking and engaging to world leaders. Yeah, we'll report and react to that. But I really do take seriously my job of staying out in front of fake media narratives and hoaxes by the Democrats to keep you ahead of the curve. And so I'm traveling this whole on Wednesday, and just kind of throws me off because, you again, doing show planning, no show on Wednesday night. And then Thursday, I have like a ton of stuff, kind of get lost in the sauce. And here we are on Friday, closing out the week and closing out the week strong. Quick Fort Parnell update, as I typically update you on some Fort Parnell happenings at the top of the show. Chickens have arrived here in Fort Parnell, and let me tell you, this comes on the heels of two goats, now named Zeke and Ellie. And if you saw Commander Melanie's post on Locals, you saw my youngest child, Evan, with our goat, Zeke, and we are really ratcheting up Fort Parnell and our homesteading abilities here. So I'm like planning the show today, and I get this calendar notification on my phone and on my computer because, you know, the rings, this little bell rings, and right the title of the actual notification itself says chicken dealer, and it just is on a Sunday. Commander Melanie, she'll come up to me and be like, I got a line on some chickens. So she shows up yesterday at the house with 4 chickens in a box. They're not chicks. They're not full-grown chickens. They're kind of like right in the middle. But when this woman, I'll tell you right now, when the commander gets focused in on something, boy, does she hit the target like a heat-seeking missile. In the last month, 2 goats, now chickens. The animals in Fort Parnell now outnumber the humans. What the hell is happening around here? It's crazy. And guess what? More chickens on the way. So, you know, quick sit rep within Fort Parnell for you all. But let me give you a quick sense of where this country is and where the Biden campaign is right now at the moment. Biden is in big trouble. And there's this article in The Atlantic. I mean, because he's getting hit in mainstream media now. You saw the Wall Street Journal piece basically saying that in private, he's slipping. And again, it's a long article. You can go and read it. I think it's like 27 pages. But like, I mean, it's just a long article. And all it does is tell us what we already know, that Biden is an animated corpse. He's not just slipping in private. He's definitely slipping in public. Sometimes literally, dude's falling off of his bike, tripping on the stage at the Air Force Academy. He's a joke, and America sees it, and now the left sees it, and now the left is panicking. And this from The Atlantic today. Ruth Bader Biden, just reading a little bit from the article, and of course, The Atlantic is a disgusting left-wing rag. It says, no matter the obstacles that Donald Trump creates for himself, Joe Biden's candidacy remains an existentially risky, perhaps disastrous proposition. This is from a left-wing magazine. And look, part of the reason why the lefties are in an uproar about this is the fact that Biden is basically, well, look, he could be an extra on the set of The Walking Dead and would require no makeup. I mean, would the zombies even attack him? No, they'd probably think he was a zombie himself. Part of his problem is that. But the other part of his problem is that the staff that he has around him, they're not good. They're running the same 2020 basement strategy all over again. And that strategy relied almost exclusively on Donald Trump, and he's horrible, he's evil, he's Hitler reincarnated, and hey, look, we're going to put the adults back in charge. We're going to give America a sense of normalcy. We're going to dial back the drama. Remember all the chaos that, this is what the left says, not me, all the chaos that Donald Trump created. That nothing could be further from the truth. We know that it was the media that created all that chaos and relentlessly attacked Trump every single day. And despite that, the guy got more done in his presidency than any other Republican president in my lifetime. He was absolutely unbelievable, kept his promise to the voters. And so Biden, with a hell of a lot of assistance and Democrat rigging and Democrat cheating, even with all that, barely ekes out a victory in 2020. Well, now the situation is completely different, right? Now you have Biden's been in office for 3 years, going on 4. And what you have happening here is Americans, especially the people in the middle, they're waking up to the shit show that is the Biden administration. They know in their heart of hearts that their lives were a hell of a lot better just 3-4 short years ago with Donald Trump at the helm. They might not like his tweets. They might not like his comportment. Oh my gosh, he says mean things sometimes. All that BS is out the window. Because now the American people know that, hey, look, even though there was, like, maybe they even believe the media narrative that Donald Trump created chaos. Hey, whatever, I don't care. My 401k was worth a hell of a lot more then than it is now. All I know is that gas was cheaper then than it is now. Groceries were cheaper then than they are now. So people, they're not buying the media narrative. And you're seeing the leftists and even some in the mainstream press start leaking within the Biden administration. And that's generating all these headlines that are trying to kneecap Biden. And so I'm like talking a lot and opening the show here, but we've got a huge show for you today. Talk right off the top about the indestructible America First movement and what that means for we the people. And then we're going to pivot to the deep state, the Democrat, the media's goal of crushing America first at all costs. We're talking about that. We're going to talk about mainstream personalities starting to wake up. And you know that once you've taken that red pill and the scales have been removed from your eyes, there's no going back. Once you see what the deep state is doing, you can't unsee it. Once you see the fake narratives that the media are pushing, you can't unsee those things. And of course, listen, this Donald Trump Dr. Phil interview, we're going to talk about that. I was fascinated by it. Biden plagiarism, again, absolutely crazy. And Hunter Biden's laptop exposes the Biden crime family syndicate even more than we already know. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers. So stick with us through this whole Friday episode of Battleground Live. So much to talk about today. But before we jump into the arena, let me tell you very quickly about one of our great sponsors, Done with Debt. Fort Parnell, we're in debt here. It sucks. It's horrible. It consumes everything that you have up here, and it distracts you from the important things in life. You go to bed thinking about it. You wake up thinking about debt. But the truth is the system is designed to trap you in debt. High interest credit cards and loans make it nearly impossible to pay off your debt, and insane inflation keeps you stuck paycheck to paycheck. We live paycheck to paycheck here. We know exactly what that lifestyle is like. Done With Debt is your lifeline. Done With Debt has an ingenious new strategy to help you erase your debt faster and easier than you thought possible. Done With Debt analyzes all the debt options you qualify for. They know how to reduce bills. They know how to cut interest rates. Their skilled staff of negotiators know how to get debt out of your life permanently without bankruptcy and without a loan. Done With Debt are the experts in brilliant strategies for eliminating debt, but you need to hurry because some debt solutions are time sensitive. Here's how easy they make it. Go to donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. Select Vigilant News Network at checkout. That is donewithdebt.com. Also got to tell you about My Patriot Supply. If you have a sense that something bad is coming, that the Biden administration is just an abject disaster. BR was talking with an OG member of the battle crew, said he read a readiness report of the United States military, an unclassified version of it, and he followed it up with one of his Air Force Master Sergeant buddies. And, you know, our military, in a nutshell, 25% ready. That's not a good number. Like the percentage of our military that's ready to go, should you know what hit the fan, 25%, not good. And with all this woke and DEI generals in charge of everything, with a lack of mission focus, and, you know, it's Pride Month, and even Navy special operations community and SOCOM is like rainbow flags everywhere, that makes this country a far more dangerous place. So something bad is going to happen, and you can't quite pinpoint it. All you got to go on is your gut, and you should trust it. So listen to your instincts and prepare with My Patriot Supply. Since 2008, My Patriot Supply has helped millions of American families prepare for the uncertain future. Many of them choose 3-month emergency food kits. 22 food and drink varieties, no food boredom, with over 2,000 calories a day, no starvation, and sealed inside ultra-durable 4-layer packaging. These ready-hour meals last up to 25 years in storage. So stock up on all the food kits your family needs at my website, preparewithvnn.com. $200 off every single kit. Protect yourself, protect your people, protect your family, your children, your loved ones. Get your kits at preparewithvnn.com. They'll ship fast and they will ship free. That is preparewithvnn.com. Can you believe that, folks? The operational readiness at 25%? That's absolutely insane. And it's dangerous. We're not in a good place as a country right now. The title of the episode is Next Man Up. And the most effective Army units learn the job of the person above them and learn the job of the person below them. Do you know why that is? Do you have a sense of why it's important to have an idea of, you know, maybe what your squad leader does and what, you know, maybe you're a sergeant, maybe you're a middle of the road guy. If you're a sergeant, you got to know the job of your squad leader, and you got to know the job of the people beneath you, right? The reason why that's important is because if your unit gets attacked and you take casualties, and God forbid the worst happens, someone can just step into that job. They already know the job of the man above them and the man beneath them. That's what makes part of what makes the American military so unpredictable and tenacious in combat. For generations, militaries would target officers, and militaries that were unlike ours would lose their officers and then lose all command and control and then totally be overwhelmed on the battlefield or end up surrendering. Well, the United States came around and our military started training, just teaching everybody, hey, learn the job of the man above you, the job of the man beneath you. And then God forbid the worst happens, you're ready to go. Someone can step into that role right away. You know, folks, that's kind of where we are as a country right now as it pertains to this movement. And think about it. The America First movement is a once in a lifetime movement. Think about this. I mean, really take a second, like, because it's really easy to lose yourself in the moment. It's really easy to lose perspective about where we are as a country because there's so much terrible stuff happening right now all around us. Very little good news out there. But the America First movement is a once in a lifetime thing. And we should take a minute and be grateful for it. Because all of the resistance that Trump and even some of his allies are feeling, it's because Trump is the personification. He's the guy at the top of the parapet that represents this movement. That's why they're going after him. But the response from the deep state, the media, and the Democrats, it's directly proportional to the strength of our movement. In other words, if they thought that Donald Trump was weak, if they thought that you were weak, that I was weak, that this movement was weak, they wouldn't be doing the things that they're doing. They wouldn't be pulling out all the stops to destroy this country. Folks, in a weird way, and just go with me here, we should be grateful for what they're doing. Because we talk about often on the show, best case scenario is Donald Trump wins. We got 4 years left with the most electrifying political figure in my lifetime. 4 years left. What's the next step? Well, I don't know the answer to that question. But what I do know is that you and I, we ain't going anywhere. We existed before Trump, and we're going to exist long after him. We should be grateful, though, that all of these deep state lackeys, all of these Dem radical mouth-breathing commie traitors have exposed themselves for who they are. We know who they are now. Hell, a lot of the people in the media, for years, before I ever got involved in politics, I would say to myself, well, the media is left-wing, but they don't hate America. They're not communist thugs trying to overthrow our system. Well, now, boy, Trump comes down the golden escalator, and doesn't that change everything? We know who these people are now. I mean, hell, that Wall Street Journal article comes out, and again, it should surprise Biden's losing a step in private. It should not. I mean, not just losing a step in private, as we talked about, but the media propagandists like Joe Scarborough comes out immediately and said, oh, I know Joe Biden. I've had so many meetings with the guy, and he is sharper than he's ever been. Nobody that has a brain in their heads believes that insane bullshit propaganda anymore. Donald Trump, but not just him. We say Trump derangement syndrome, but remember that this is not, Trump is he's symbolic of our movement. He's the one running to represent this movement, the America First movement. Ultimately, it's about you. I mean, the America First movement, think about this. It's made up of ordinary people. Americans who feel completely left behind by the system. And this movement is powerful. There are at least, at this moment, 75 million of us. I don't know the numbers exactly, but I actually think that number's far greater now. But 75 million based on 2020, at least 75 million of us. More being added to this movement every second of the day. We are builders, we are carpenters, we are farmers, auto mechanics, engineers, teachers, veterans of every single generation, cops, first responders, disenfranchised union workers who've been left behind by their party, blacks, Latinos who feel left behind by the Democrat Party. Folks, we of the America First movement, we are what the Republican Party was always intended to be. But of course, the Republican elites, most Republicans who hold elected office, they're ineffective. They've allowed the party to be bastardized, focus on things that don't really matter. They don't represent the base well, all things that we've covered on this show. But you truly represent the greatness of America. The pathway to restoring this country goes directly through you. So the response of the deep state, we sit back and we say to ourselves, oh my God, how could this happen in America? How could the prosecution of the presumptive Republican nominee, where the man is facing life in prison on made up, totally bogus crimes, I never thought, how many of you thought that you would ever live to see something like this happen in America? Seriously, answer in the live chat. I'm going to go back and look after the show. But how many of you are shocked at the lengths that the deep state and the Democrats have gone to take out Trump and by default you? I wager the vast majority of you, the tens of thousands who listen to this show and watch this show, members of the OG battle crew, I bet you the vast majority of you never thought that something like this would happen in America, yet here we are. But I am here to tell you today that the response of the deep state and their actions and their conduct now, as horrible and as un-American as it is in direct response to the power that you represent. Yes, the focal point is Donald Trump. He's the symbol of this movement. But really, it's about you. You know, in the airport, I was in Charlotte in the airport, coming home to Pittsburgh. And of course, by the way, traveling is just a disaster. Under Biden, travel is horrible. Under Trump, it was a million times better. I mean, and especially in the back of my mind with all this DEI insanity, like wondering if wheels are going to fall off airplanes and everything else the whole way. It wasn't exactly a relaxing experience, but I met this guy from Pittsburgh. He's this huge guy. I won't say his name because I didn't get clearance from him to talk about him before the show. Huge guy, Biden shirt, had a head of Biden looking like a complete buffoon, covered in like a tarp. It just says Biden cover up, like everywhere he's going through the airport. You can't miss the guy. He's huge. Big red, white, and blue glasses, big red, white, and blue wristwatch, Biden shirt. Like, couldn't miss the guy. He was like, it was awesome. But everywhere he's walking through Charlotte, people are saying to this guy, I love your shirt. And he comes up, he stands right next to me. And I look at him and I say, I like your shirt. And he slaps me on the shoulder and he said, I know you. You look familiar. I said, I do. Because like, I think I wasn't really worried about it with this guy. But like half the time in today's day and age, half the people hate you, half the people love you. And he goes, you're that Parnell guy, right? And I said, yeah. We started laughing and we started talking. He goes, oh my God, I can't believe how terrible Biden is. He's just absolutely tearing this country apart. He's destroying America. And I said, I know. And he said, look at how I'm dressed. He's like, I'm a roofer here in Western Pennsylvania. Like, I've never been more worried about my country. I wear this stuff now because I don't care. I don't care what those assholes say about me. We have a country to save. We can't. And I said, you know what? We can't be silent. I hate the whole concept of the silent majority because silence accomplishes nothing. And here's this guy out. I'm like, why do you feel this way? He goes, this is my daughter right here. He's like, I'm afraid of the country that she's going to grow up in. I'm afraid that she's not going to know the America that I knew. So here he is being the embodiment of all things America, fighting to save his country. And that's exactly the kind of attitude that we need from our movement. Next man up. One man goes down, two men stand up. That's the pathway forward, folks. They're scared of us, which is why you're seeing this lawfare on an unprecedented scale. I mean, look, folks, look at what's happening to Bannon. Listen to how listen to how MSNBC, I should say MSDNC, which is essentially a Democrat mouthpiece. Again, MSNBC exists to elevate Democrat propaganda. You know this, right? But here's MSNBC talking about Bannon's sentencing. Listen carefully to the lawyer as she talks through this.
It will come as no surprise to anyone that Donald Trump took to social media to rail against this, calling it a total and complete American tragedy that the crooked Joe Biden Department of Justice is yada, yada, yada. But it's interesting. So Bannon has said that he will appeal again, and that he's looking to push off that July 1st report date. Tell us what mechanism that would be. Is there a chance of success, or is he going to go in July 1st? And we should know, though Bannon does not officially work for the Trump campaign, he's an informal and very influential advisor and a large MAGA voice. But if he goes in July 1st, that means he's going to be silenced for the stretch run of the election.
That is likely true, and I think it is likely, if not highly probable, that he'll go in July 1st. So let's talk about his mechanisms for appeal. He can ask for a rehearing by the D.C. Circuit en banc. That would mean every active judge on the D.C. Circuit, as opposed to a 3-judge panel. He has until June 24th to make that request. But in all likelihood, they're not going to respond to that request before his July 1st reporting date. He can also file a petition for certiorari with the Supreme Court. But again, the deadline for him doing so comes after his July 1st date. Now, either of those options, they could reimpose a stay of his sentence. Do I believe that it's likely that they're going to? I don't. And I think Steve Bannon will, in all probability, serve that 4-month sentence. And as you note, John, be silenced in the lead up to the election. That's particularly important because Steve Bannon was a huge voice for MAGA in the lead up to, and more importantly, after the 2020 election. There is still a phone call between Donald Trump and Steve Bannon on January 6th that no one has quite explained.
I mean, they're just talking about it as if it's completely normal. This is important. Those were her words. This is important because Steve Bannon is a huge voice for MAGA, and he will be silenced in the lead up to the election. That is 100% the point. Remember that MSDNC is a mouthpiece for the Democrat Party. Peter Navarro in prison, Steve Bannon in prison. This is about silencing America First patriots. All of this, everything that you are seeing, the strength and power of the deep state and how tenacious they are in coming after Trump and the rest of his allies, and then us, is because of us. Is because of you who've dared to speak up and have a voice in your political destiny, which is how America was always intended to be. One person goes down in 2024, 2 have to stand up. We've got to be tenacious. We cannot allow them to intimidate us. I mean, listen to Trump. This is why they're doing what they're doing, folks. This is why they're going after Trump. Do you remember Trump at CPAC a few years back? The things that he said about the enemies that we face here in this country domestically? This is why the deep state and the Democrats are doing what they're doing.
Our enemies are lunatics and maniacs. They cannot stand that they do not own me. I don't need them. I don't need anything about them. I don't need their money. They cannot steer me. They cannot shake me, and they will never, ever control me, and they will never, ever, therefore, control you. At the end of the day, anyone else will be intimidated, bought off, blackmailed, or ripped to shreds. I alone will never retreat, and that is why we must stand together and charge. We have to charge full speed ahead.
We have to charge. I love Trump, man. I love that guy. That's why he can't be bought. I mean, remember what I told you about these trials, right? It's not just about throwing Trump in prison and charging him and dragging him through the mud. Of course, it's about election interference, but it's very, very personal. They are going after the Trump name. They're going after his business. If they can take and steal his business, they go after his private fortune. So they smear his name, they smear his legacy, they take his money, they take his ability to self-fund. If they take his ability to self-fund, they destroy the man. But the more they try to destroy the man, the more entrenched our support for him becomes, not just the America First movement, but also the American people. Those who join this movement, and more people today than ever before, are joining the America First movement because They're afraid for their country, just like the guy I met in the airport, just a roofer from Western Pennsylvania, walking through the airport like he's Captain America, dressed in spangly red, white, and blue everywhere he goes. They're waking up. But anybody that joins this movement, anybody that sees things for what they are, becomes an enemy. It doesn't matter how mainstream they've been. It doesn't matter how popular they are. They are discarded and become the enemy. And so much of I like that Dr. Phil interview with Trump, you've got to go watch it. We're going to talk about it here today throughout the show, but I recommend you go watch the full thing because like Dr. Phil, I don't know what his politics are. I have absolutely no idea. But I like the questions that he asked Trump. They were on point. I like Trump's responses. It gives you a side to President Trump that you don't often see, and I think those interviews are the most effective. But because Dr. Phil is starting to see things for the way that they are and see through the veil of the deep state, and again, the moment you do it, you can't go back. It is so strikingly similar to the Matrix movie. It's scary, and that once you see, you can't unsee. But Dr. Phil is starting to learn what it's like to be on the side of the rebellion, which is us. We're the real resistors. But listen to what Dr. Phil had to say about being censored yesterday.
I'll tell you what, we put up promos on the social media platforms about the interview for people to watch, and we submitted a promo to TikTok, and they said, well, we need to review this to see if it's consistent with community standards. And it was just the promo here. I mean, it wasn't saying let's go stomp baby kittens to death or anything. And usually, now I don't do a lot of this myself, it gets put up, but usually the review is like 10 seconds because they run it through like an algorithm or something and make sure it doesn't have something in it that shouldn't be there. And an hour later, which is usually like 2 seconds or 10 seconds, an hour later, the message came back rejected. They would not put it up. And which is really disturbing to me because it was just a news promo. It was just a news promo. And it's not like I'm a known conspiracy wacko or something. And I've got 7 or 8 million followers there, so it's not like I'm an unknown person to them. But they wouldn't put it up because it had Trump in it. They didn't even know if it was pro or con. It had Trump in it, they wouldn't put it up. That's concerning to me. But we put it on there because we wanted to get young people, hey, watch this and find out who this really is. Maybe you'll hate them. And so at least you'll know it'll be based on fact. So, but yes, ma'am, stand up. We'll get you a microphone.
Dr. Phil is asking questions that the deep state doesn't like. And now he's seeing how the rest of us have been treated. When I play clips like that, sometimes I'll switch over to the live chat, and OG member of the battle crew, Demanda, said that she had been banned on TikTok 23 times. That's pretty amazing. Demanda, congratulations on that. That you're clearly over the target. But look, Dr. Phil has been concerned. He's been on CNN, did CNN interviews in the wake of this Trump interview. And CNN's always tried to twist the conversation and manipulate him 15 ways from Sunday. And Dr. Phil has said many times, I'm concerned about the lack of due process and Trump's constitutional rights that have clearly been violated during these numerous trials. I mean, he sees it now. And look, he's not wrong. This is just in. Judge Mershon Juan Merchan, the bastard in a black robe, commie Dem activist judge up in New York, just sent an email notifying both parties in Trump's case of a concerning comment on the New York court's Facebook page. This is from, I'm looking at Nick Sorter here on X. It came from a supposed cousin of a juror who celebrated the decision to convict a day before the actual conviction. So it says, my cousin is a juror and says Trump is getting convicted. Thank you, folks, for all your hard work. And it has heart emojis. The letter that Merchan sent says, dear counsel, because he sent something to the prosecution and the defense, Merchan did. So, dear counsel, today the court became aware of a comment that was posted on the United Court System's public Facebook page, which I now bring to your attention. The comment, the user, Michael Anderson, states what I just read to you. So that's from the official letter. That's the letterhead of Judge Juan Merchan. So, I mean, obviously, there's some really shady, corrupt stuff happening here. Obviously, Dr. Phil and other mainstream celebrities, I'm telling you, they're starting to see it. And just today, you know, look, this comment from some alleged cousin of a juror. And just today you have Google banned the PragerU app from their app store for, quote, hate speech. I mean, think about this. You have the Biden administration. The only difference in Biden's plan from 2020, which was basement Biden, oh, I hate Trump, look, Trump is Hitler, is that now Biden is actually still hiding in his basement, and on the rare occasions that he makes a public appearance, he's stumbling and bumbling all over the place. But now he's locking up his political opponents and censoring anybody who opposes them, including people like Dr. Phil. But listen, folks, this is the stuff. The reason why this should encourage you is that this is the stuff that changes perspectives. Mainstream people, mainstream celebrities opening their eyes, open the eyes of millions of people who support them. Typically, this has been something with these Hollywood moron A-listers who back Democrats mindlessly forever. Typically, this is something that's been exclusive on the left. But more and more mainstream American celebrities are opening their eyes, and as their eyes open, they open the eyes of their audience as well. Look at Dr. Phil. He did all these focus groups in the wake of this Trump interview, and listen to how some of the audience reacted. It's fascinating.
So watching your interview today, I think it actually gave me an interpretation that I've never had of him before, and us not seeing him more, it actually kind of hurts people on judging him. I guess if that's what the media wants to do, then they're doing a very good job at it.
Yeah, you bet. All right.
I was just thinking about when they ran the first time together, or the second time, and President Biden won. I have a lot of Republican friends and a lot of Democratic friends. I'm kind of neutral, but they talked about good versus evil, and I thought, well, we're not really in a Disney movie, so I don't understand. You may not like him, I get that, but now, 4 years later, the same people I know that have said these things say, I'm really upset with my 401k. I'm upset when I go to the grocery store, and they're all voting for Trump now. So it's, and on the TikTok thing, I do get on TikTok, and most of the people I have followed off and on, their TikToks have been taken down if they have anything about Trump. And I just think this is bias, and so that doesn't help his case at all. They just see one side.
Yeah, does that bother you? That they're taking stuff down because it has that in there? What do you want to say?
I'm telling you, this is opening people's eyes, and it's not just Dr. Phil. Let me take a quick break and tell you about Sweetamine. I've been taking Sweetamine for 2 months now, and I will take it for the rest of my life because I'm a guy that suffers from chronic pain. I've had chronic pain since I've been out of the military. Sweetamine has helped me immensely deal with secondary inflammation from all these injuries that I sustained in the Army. And the reason why it helps is because it's composed mainly of the amino acid glycine, which is the nutrient the immune system uses to regulate inflammation. Most of the diseases that make people sick and die these days are rooted in chronic inflammation, mainly due to glycine deficiency. So all those aches and pains that you feel as you get older, yep, you guessed it, because of chronic inflammation. Once daily serving of Sweetamine provides 8 grams of glycine, and that's enough to stop all excess inflammation right where it starts. With once daily Sweetamine, most people feel the reduction in pain after just a few days. You can also take Sweetamine as in a post-workout recovery drink. It helps a lot. A 12-day challenge trial pack of Sweetamine is $19.95 with free shipping, sold completely risk-free. If you don't like it, you can send it back. If it's not working for you, you can send it back. You get your money back. Use Sweetamine just like sugar. It comes in these like little one-off sugar packets in your favorite beverage, smoothie, sprinkled on your cereal. Take it any way that you like. All natural Sweetamine contains no sugar, no carbs, 24 calories, perfectly safe and great for diabetics as well. So you can buy Sweetamine online. And I encourage you to check this website out, sweetamine.com, SWEETAMINE.com, or call 855-GET-SWEET. That's 855-438-7933. Sweetamine.com, or call 855-438-7933, 855-GET-SWEET. Use the promo code Sean, and you get a $5 discount. Okay, let me also tell you about Book a Limo. I used Book a Limo this week. It was freaking awesome. You go on their website, needed a car to and from the airport, and then from the hotel back to the airport after my event. You go on their website, put, where you want to go, what your name is, where you need dropped off. Super easy. Driver shows up like well in advance. He texts you and calls you personally. Like, it was pretty amazing. So if you're on the lookout for any sort of transportation service, especially if you're on vacation, or, trying to get to and fro with your luggage, or you're on a work business trip, you should really consider using Book a Limo. They've got everything from sedans to motor coaches. They've got SUVs. Book a Limo is available in 1,000 cities worldwide. And they offer all of this at a price that is right in line with Uber and Lyft. Uber and Lyft are woke, liberal companies. Book a Limo is not. We should support companies that share our values. As I mentioned, they also run a 24-hour day, 7-day week in-house operation armed with state-of-the-art technology. So whether it's the dead of night or crack of dawn, you can pick up the phone and have a direct line to your driver. Book a Limo is a full-service experience. Trust me, I've used them. They're awesome. Call 1-800-BOOK-A-LIMO. That's 1-800-BOOK-A-LIMO, or book online at bookalimo.com. That's bookalimo.com. Trust me, they're your go-to for a safe, luxurious ride that you absolutely deserve. It is a VIP experience. So, folks, listen, it's not just people like Dr. Phil that are opening their eyes. Non-traditional, not even non-traditional conservatives, people that aren't conservative at all, like Joe Rogan, pretty much guarantee, based on the things that he's saying, the guy's going to vote Trump. And what did the media do when Joe Rogan came out and said this? Called him a radical, crazy, far-right, crazy person. Oh, he's far-right, he's crazy. It's not just people like Joe Rogan. It's also Russell Brand, who has a massive, massive audience, came out today and said this.
In a straight choice between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, if you care about democracy, if you care about freedom, I don't know how you can do anything other than vote for Donald Trump for precisely the reasons that they claim that you can't vote for Donald Trump. They act as if a vote for Donald Trump is almost like you're directly voting for Armageddon. Like, you see hysterical performances outside of courtrooms, endless MSNBC bombast. But I'm starting to think that, no, a greater threat to democracy is this kind of technological feudalism that tells you that it cares about you and it's protecting vulnerable people, all the while increasing censorship, increasing the funding of wars, increasing the division between ordinary Americans.
Russell Brand is woken up. Now, he's been thinking for himself for a very long time, but thinking for yourself and saying that between Biden and Trump, Trump is your guy, that is a big, big leap. Dr. Phil, Russell Brand, Joe Rogan, they're all mainstream people. They're sure as hell not traditional conservatives. They're standing up and saying enough because they see America on a path that is simply dangerous. They know that Biden and the Democrats have become an existential threat to America, and they are right because they are. Dr. Phil was just censored for the first time, and he was shocked. Russell Brand starts saying conservative things, and magically people emerge from his past accusing him of terrible things. I don't purport to know what happened. But do you think that that's just a coincidence after everything that we've experienced? Do you think that that's a coincidence? Let me tell you, folks, they are scared of you. They are scared of this movement. Listen, Aunt Cindy Flagg, Jojo, thank you for the Rumble Rant tip. God bless you. Super grateful. While you're all in the chat, make sure you smash that Rumble button, that little green thumb beneath the video. It helps us a lot. Smash it. Smash it. Smash it. Okay. They're scared of you. Trying to get back to the show. Like, the show's going by really fast. Those who have influence on our side, like, let's pivot there for a second. Those who have influence on our side and those who don't toe the line, they try to destroy those people. They try. I mean, all those people that you call rhinos, I've often wondered, have they been threatened? Does somebody have something on them? Like, why do senators from deep red states, Republican senators from deep red states, vote like milquetoast Republicans from the swingiest of swing districts and swing states? You would think that people that lived in R plus 100 states would vote like an R plus 100 person, right? They don't. I wonder why. They have something on these people. DC Drano put out this tweet, and he said that, Tucker gets booted from Fox. Shortly after that, Dan Bongino is off Fox. Now, Dan said it was a contract dispute, but Dan's off Fox. His audience is bigger than ever. But Alex Jones, I'm sure you saw the news today of Alex Jones having to liquidate his assets. He owes like $1 gajillion. Like, he's using that to pay the families of Sandy Hook. Rudy Giuliani had some ridiculous asinine judgment against him for like $100 million for saying a rigged election was rigged. You see what they're doing to Trump. The CFO of the Epic Times was just indicted. James O'Keefe out at Project Veritas. OAN was banned from all these major satellite networks. Parler, remember what they did to Parler? Was booted off the AWS cloud server. I mean, DC Drano's exactly right. Elon's being sued and investigated by the feds for allowing free speech on Twitter. Almost every single alternate elector in swing states all across this country has been indicted in blue states. Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro's in prison. Steve Bannon's supposed to go to prison on July 1st. Things are bad. But the reason why they're doing this is in direct response, in proportion to how much they fear you. So in a way, again, we should be grateful that they're exposing themselves the way that they are. And Steve Bannon, I encourage you, earmuffs if you've got kids around, because he dropped some F-bombs here. But Steve Bannon goes off on the Republican elites, and he should. They don't represent well the people. And so we have to take it on ourselves to do the job. And we have. Listen.
What the fuck did you do to stop it? Here's what he did to stop it. Nothing. You know why they did nothing? Because it's too fucking hard to do it. They're gutless. The reason this country in the West is in the shape it's in is because the conservatives who talked a good game about doing better didn't have the balls to sit there and fight and say no. This is why you have moms going to school boards to throw this pornography out. The reason we're winning in the United States, we're not depending upon a conservative elite who are gutless and feckless. We're depending upon mothers and fathers and school boards. We're depending upon working class people who are taking their extra time to go to precinct strategy because they said, hey, we're prepared to stand and fight and not let our country be taken. And that's what's important. Everything else is just conversation. You have to have the political will and the muscle to sit there and say, they can call me a racist, they can call me a nativist, they can call me a xenophobe, a sexist, a homophobe, all of it. When they get to that name calling, that means they've lost the argument and we're winning. You've got to draw that pus, you've got to lance the boil and draw that pus out of the system, and the conservatives aren't prepared to do that. They'll curl up in the fetal position because they're not going to be acceptable with the clubs. You have to get over, you have to understand we're unclubbable, and we're fucking proud of it, okay? And we're going to save our country, and eventually leaders will step up in England and come to the forefront and save the United Kingdom.
One conservative goes down, two stand up. Next man up. That's how it has to be. They can't stop us. And that's what Bannon was out there saying, oh, you could put me in a prison, but I'm not going to shut up. The reason why they are going after Bannon, they already told you on MSDNC, but the man that you saw right there, he's 100% right. How many times have I told you the exact same thing? Massive cultural change is needed in our party. This party, me, you, all of us, we need to be default aggressive on all things. And that means take the initiative on the political battlefield. No, I'm not talking about violence. Of course not. Take the initiative on the political battlefield. Put the Democrats on their heels. Go on offense and don't stop until you've dismantled the Democrat Party. That's exactly what they're doing to us. Default aggressive on all things. And that's why I don't like this obsession with not holding people accountable. Now, the left is spinning it, and reporters are spinning it as like getting even or revenge or retribution. It's not about any of those things. It's about holding people accountable who have aided and abetted in the destruction of America through one hoax after the next, foisted on the American people. Those people who did that should be held accountable. That's what leadership is about, accountability. We as Americans love accountability. If you're a good parent, you hold your children what? Accountable. We can't live in a country where our elites on both sides of the aisle are held to a different standard. And Dr. Phil asked Trump this question. Again, this interview with Dr. Phil and Donald Trump fascinates me, but listen to Dr. Phil talking about, hey, you ain't going to have time to get even.
I think you have so much to do, you don't have time to get even. You only have time to get right.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that.
It does.
And sometimes revenge can be justified, Phil. I have to be honest. Sometimes it can.
But is the country better or worse for them going after you?
I think the country is really worse for what they've done, and I think you see that when you look at the poll numbers, when you see that almost $400 million has poured in since this horrible decision was made. That was a few days ago. Numbers that nobody's ever heard of in politics before. It's a great honor. The people of our country get it. You know, they're very smart. Taken as a whole, I have to say, they're very smart. But it's been an honor being with you. It really has. And I think you'd be very proud of the job we do.
It's a good answer. He was also asked, why are you running? And I want you to listen. I'm telling you, you should go back and watch this whole interview, but listen to Trump's response about why you're running.
My question is why? I understand how. I know you got a thick skin. You're not one of those people that's afflicted with the need to be loved by strangers. I get that.
I think that's true.
My question is not how do you do it. My question is why do you do it? Why do you, 'cause let's face it. I mean, you're a billionaire. You got a great family. You're a very dedicated father. People may not see this in you a lot because you keep that kind of private. But my question to you is why do you subject yourself to this?
So there's a movement in this country. It's called MAGA. And Biden's always fighting it. We will stop MAGA. MAGA is Make America Great Again. And we were doing, you know, I had an administration that was a tremendous success. Even enemies, I mean, we had the...
So Trump just said right there in that clip that he's running because of you. Think about that. That clip is what inspired me to title this episode, that clip is what really got me thinking. I mean, he believes it. He believes in this movement, perhaps now more than he ever has before. That man is putting himself and his family through hell for our country and for the movement. He recognizes that the Biden administration is trying to destroy him because they're trying to destroy you and me. He believes it. He was also asked about how Melania is holding up. Again, great questions by, flag by Aunt Cindy. Great questions by Dr. Phil. We'll get to that in a second. But thanks to Box Noggin for the Rumble rant tip. Again, 100% we get goes right back into the show. This is your show. It always will be. Oh, also, if you haven't noticed, like, again, not to sidetrack the show, but I'm doing 2 ad reads squished together just because I think it kind of gives a better flow to the show. Ad reads are how we keep the lights on. So I hope that's cool. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. I'm always looking for ways to improve the show, and your feedback is invaluable. But Box Noggin, thanks for the Rumble rant tip. You like the backdrop, the American flag background. You like this? I might tweak it a little bit to try to make it brighter. But I think this is always going to stay with us here on Battleground Live. But thank you. Also, folks, you're watching, smash that little green thumb. Helps us get on the Rumble leaderboard, and we want to make it there before the end of the year. Trump was asked by Dr. Phil about Melania and how she's holding up through all of this. Again, a great question that Trump's not asked very often. Listen.
She holding up through all of this?
I think good, but I don't think it's an easy thing for her. And I think if it wasn't good, she wouldn't want to tell me about it, to be honest with you, because, you know, she sees that I'm fighting like hell. I'm trying to become president and make America great again. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make America great again. They put tremendous obstacles in our way, including the 20 million people that are going to be in here by the time.
I like how Trump, he said, I think she's doing good. Trump's not often asked these questions. And when you find yourself surrounded and attacked as often as he is, I imagine that it would make it very difficult to trust people that were close to you. The man's been stabbed in the back more than almost anybody else that I know. But I imagine it would make it very difficult for you to open up and be vulnerable about the people that you love and you care about in your life. You heard Dr. Phil say, well, you're a great father. How often do you hear journalists say that about Trump? But it's true. He is. I know Dawn and Eric, they're great people. They are great, great people. You compare them to the white trash Biden family, disgusting crime family syndicate. They embody the worst aspects of American culture, and the animated corpse is sitting in the White House. There's no comparison between the class and the grace that the Trumps have. Compare that to the Bidens, and Trump is a great father. He loves his kids, and his kids are great, successful people. So it's damn awesome to see Dr. Phil recognize that. But I got to believe if you're being attacked relentlessly all the time, it makes it hard to open up and talk openly with people about people that you love and care about. But it's awesome to see Trump talk about that stuff in an interview. So kudos to Dr. Phil for doing a great job on that interview. Also, listen, you've got it. This is what I'm building to. It's about when mainstream celebrities open their eyes, they open the eyes of millions, especially when their perspective is new and different from what everybody else is doing. And when we have ourselves in a situation here, are lots of celebrities, people like huge influence, Joe Rogan, Russell Brand, now Dr. Phil. I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but if I had to guess, they're on the Trump train. But listen to this focus group, the audience of Dr. Phil talking about who they would vote for in the 2024 election. It's important. Listen to this.
The question was asked, I would vote for a convicted felon for president of the United States. 91% say yes, and then Keith and a few stragglers say no. So 91% of the people say yes, and I don't know if that's because they think that's kind of a bogus conviction or if they think it's a white-collar conviction or something. That's something we need to drill down more on. But 91% of the people say they would. we'll see.
Most prisoners can't vote.
Right. Well, and you can't vote from prison. But actually, a convicted felon can't vote in Florida unless they're under New York law, which is interesting. Then they can vote in Florida. So, yes, ma'am.
You see, 91%. And why wouldn't they? Did you see the economic news today? Now, every news agency, including Fox News, spun it as some gangbuster report. I don't know how anyone can report the economic numbers as some gangbuster report when every single month, like 11 of the last 13 months, it's been revised down by 100,000 jobs. Not on the front page like the news breaking is often put. Oh, look, 272,000 jobs created. 2 months later on page 5 at the bottom right-hand corner, economic numbers from 2 months ago revised down. So why anybody would trust the news these days is beyond me. But Zero Hedge put out on X today, and the number you've all been waiting for, and he's talking about the real economic numbers, native-born workers minus 663,000 jobs, foreign-born workers, mostly illegal aliens, plus 414,000. You wonder why the invasion continues? That's why. So the economy is in shambles, and that leads me to Genesis Gold. Let's face it, the geopolitical situation isn't great. More foreign-born workers in this country are getting jobs than actual American citizens. And under the Biden administration, the economy hasn't inspired confidence at all. And as a result, Americans like you are concerned about their retirement savings, and for good reason. But there's good news. Gold has held its value since the dawn of mankind. And did you know that gold is mentioned in every book of the Bible from Genesis through Revelation? As a faith-driven precious metals company, Genesis Gold Group helps Americans protect their life savings from the threats facing our nation. And they actually want their customers to learn about gold and silver. So it's not a hardcore sales pitch. They just want to benefit you. They educate you every single step of the way. So you can call them or go to their website, but you get your free definitive gold guide to get started and just to learn more about investing in gold and protecting your retirement from uncertain times. So visit treasureandtrust.com, fill out the basic contact form, and a member of the team will be in touch. Again, that's treasureandtrust.com. Also, let me tell you about Prepper Beef. America's food supply is under attack. It's part of the reason why here at Fort Parnell, we are desperately trying to get off the grid and not depend on our government for anything, nothing. Beef is the primary target, with everything from climate change to bird flu being wielded against cattle. It behooves Americans to stock up on long-term storage beef, and we have the solution. That's preparewithbeef.com. Preparewithbeef.com is a veteran-owned company that sells premium steaks. I love steaks, and I know you do too. They sell premium steaks with a 25-year shelf life. Ribeye, New York strip, tenderloin, sirloin. They don't sell the beef crumbles or beef chunks that other survival food companies offer. At preparewithbeef.com, my listeners, also the viewers, can take 25% off their order with code RVM. Stock up now before cricket burgers become a thing by going to preparewithbeef.com and using the promo code RVM. Okay. Can we discuss the Biden crime family syndicate for just a second? Because again, all this kind of gets lost in the shuffle of all the crazy news that's happening all the time in America. But Hunter Biden's trial has thrust Hunter Biden's laptop back into the public eye. We now know that the FBI knew it was authentic in 2020 and likely going back farther than that, but withheld that information from the American people. And of course, we know that the FBI, the deep state, and the Biden crime family syndicate lied about it on the regular. Have any of these networks that pushed the Hunter Biden laptop as Russian disinformation, have any of them apologized? Have any of them been labeled conspiracy theorists? No. But I found this video on Twitter, and it just kind of blows me away at how brazen Hunter Biden is lying here. Now, look, watch him carefully. Listen to his words. If you're not watching the show and you're just listening, listen to what he says. You can, now that you know the truth, you can tell this guy is lying. Listen to this.
Was that your laptop?
For real, I don't know.
I know, but you know that this is.
I really don't know.
Okay.
The answer is.
You don't know yes or no if the laptop.
I don't have
was
any
yours.
idea. I have no idea.
So could have been yours.
Of course, certainly. There could be a laptop out there that was stolen from me. There could be that I was hacked. It could be that it was Russian intelligence. It could be that it was stolen from me.
It could be that it was hacked. It could be that it was stolen. It could be that I lost it. It could be that a crack addicted whoremongering fool who sniffs Parmesan cheese out of the carpet thinking it's cocaine. I mean seriously. None of what this garbage crime family does is real or authentic at all. I mean, remember, Biden has been a lying plagiarizer, pathological liar his entire life. And yesterday in Normandy was no different. And the reason why I'm playing this for you is because I played this Ronald Reagan speech as we honored the legacy of those who gave their last full measure, storming the beaches of Normandy and honoring our World War II vets the right way. We played that Ronald Reagan speech as an example of what right looks like. And look at Biden goes and steals it and basically plagiarizes the facts in the order of the facts, right? like almost word for word. Listen to this.
At last the hour had come. Dawn, 6th of June, 1944.
At dawn on the morning of the 6th of June, 1944.
225 American Rangers arrived by ship, jumped into the waves and stormed the beach.
225 Rangers jumped off the British landing craft and ran to the bottom of these cliffs.
Gunfire rained above them, but still they kept coming. Nazi grenades thrown from above exploded against the cliffs, but still they kept coming.
The Rangers looked up and saw the enemy soldiers, the edge of the cliffs, shooting down at them with machine guns and throwing grenades. And the American Rangers began to climb.
They launched their ladders, their ropes, and grappling hooks, and they began to climb.
They shot rope ladders over the face of these cliffs and began to pull themselves up.
When the Nazis cut their ladders, the Rangers used the ropes. When the Nazis cut their ropes, the Rangers used their hands.
When one Ranger fell, another would take his place. When one rope was cut, a Ranger would grab another and begin his climb again.
And inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard, the Rangers literally clawed their way up this mighty precipice until at last they reached the top.
Soon, one by one, the Rangers pulled themselves over the top.
They breached Hitler's Atlantic Wall, and they turned in that one effort the tide of the war that began to save the world.
And in seizing the firm land at the top of these cliffs, they began to seize back the continent of Europe.
I'm sorry. It's like the exact same facts in the exact same order. It is unbelievable to me what the media allows this guy to get away with. Special thanks to Buzzy B for the Rumble Rant tip. You're awesome. I love you. Thank you all for being OG members of the Battle Crew are the best. Thank you for that. But yeah, let me just want to do a quick recap before we close out the show today. Take a closer look at a series of events about the Biden crime family. Again, because all of this is now out there in the fore because of the Hunter Biden trial. Of course, he's facing felony gun charges. And all of this stuff has emerged now because his laptop has been admitted into evidence. So a closer look of a series of events that unfolded between 2009 and 2017. During this period, Hunter Biden and his associates established 15 companies. These companies didn't produce any products. They didn't offer any services. They didn't generate any invoices or accounting records. Kind of insane, isn't it? Now, you look at the financial aspect of all this. These companies received $21 million from foreign countries who hate us. Romania gave $3 million. Ukraine provided $6.5 million. China offered $8 million. And Russia offered $3.5 million to the pot. It's worth noting that all of these companies were formed after Joe Biden assumed the role of vice president of the United States. Like, how is this? How are we cool with this in America? How has this man not been thrown in prison yet? It's absolutely crazy. I think the question for all of us is, what did Haley Biden, Hunter Biden, and James Biden provide to these countries in exchange for such substantial sums of cash? Because it really seems like they're money laundering. Or were they selling access to Joe Biden? It seems like they were selling access to Joe Biden. Hunter Biden's laptop in trial revealed that the Biden crime family received tens of millions of dollars from foreign adversaries without any clear business service provided. 9 Biden family members received wire transfers from foreign nationals via shell companies: Hunter Biden, James Biden, Sarah Biden, Haley Biden, Kathleen Biden, Melissa Biden, 2 nieces, nephews, and a grandchild. The grandchild probably has more money than all of Fort Parnell. Some of the money, definitely, you could bet your ass that some of the money made it into Joe Biden's bank account. And oh, by the way, the Biden crime family, none of them registered as, they never registered under the Foreign Registration or the Foreign Agent Registration Act. To me, this is pretty clear evidence that they are working on behalf of countries who hate us, or at least foreign interests, to lobby U.S. government, one guy, namely Joe Biden. So, folks, they attack us because of the power of our movement. They attack Donald Trump because they fear us. If we take power back in November, and this election is everything, they know that everything that I just told you is going to come to light, that and so much more. Because 4 more years of Trump, the guy's not, he's not running for re-election. He understands the game now. And this isn't me talking. You've heard people like Andrew McCabe right here on the show. You've heard people like James Comey right here on the show say the same thing. Trump is smarter now. He understands the political game better. They know that they're going to be exposed when we win in this November. Come hell or high water, we've got to win. And so, I want you all to have an amazing weekend this weekend. Show went a little bit long today. School is out for the summer here in Fort Parnell. The kids are finally off of school. Very, very excited about that. So we're going to have an awesome weekend here. I hope you do too. Remember to smash that little green thumb, okay, before you leave. Smash that little green thumb, that like button. I'd like to get up. I'd like to see 200 likes at the end of every show, maybe more. I get it. It's Friday. But tell your family and your friends to subscribe to Battleground Live. Also, check out my new partner, RVM News. Go to rvmnews.com. Truthfully, you should get all of your news from them. rvmnews.com. News, politics, entertainment, sports. It's an awesome website. Super easy to navigate. That's rvmnews.com. Check them out. Next week's shows are going to be awesome. I'm already kind of cobbling them together here in my mind. Make sure that you're in the trenches with us Monday at 5. Do not miss this next week of shows. I've got Daniel Turner, the CEO of Power the Future, on Tuesday. I've got Savage Rich on Wednesday. I think I'm going to have Brian Dean Wright in the arena as well. Man, I'm telling you, the show is growing, and it's because of you, and I am so grateful for that. So I want you to have a great weekend. I want you to get some R&R in, and I want you right back here in the trenches on Monday, Battle Crew, fighting to save this country. As always, God bless you all, and may God bless and continue to bless the United States of America, the best country on the face of the planet. Good night. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.
Mike Lindell here, and like you, I see our country being destroyed daily. We face massive economic issues, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are people in power who threaten the values that have made our country great. Well, I've been a believer in gold and silver for a long time, and I've searched for years for a partner that shares my values. Well, Genesis Gold Group showed me how easy it is to protect your IRA, 401k, or your retirement with gold and silver. Their faith-driven approach to service and stewardship is one that stands out from the rest.
To get your free definitive gold guide and get started learning more about investing in gold and protecting your retirement from uncertain times, visit treasureandtrust.com now. Fill out the basic contact form and a member of the team will be in touch. Again, that's treasureandtrust.com or call 855-625-7760.